guys, welcome back to the channel. I'm Earth Twister, and I'm excited to be bringing you Winter Soldier in Protection, built around anticipation against Red Skull in Expert mode. So let's go ahead and make sure we got everything set up. Let's do a quick shuffle of everything. And while I'm doing all that, you guys can do me the amazing favor, if you want to, of scrolling down through the description, checking out the other Marvel Champions content creators in there. And while you're down there, if you could leave a comment, like, and subscribe, that would actually really help out a lot. All right, so that is the encounter deck shuffled. And to be completely vulnerable, that's not the right word, but to be completely clear, I have tried this a few times and have not won. Although the last time I tried, it was because he schemed out and I forgot that I had infiltration, so I could have triggered it and he wouldn't have schemed and I would have been alive still. But that didn't happen, so yeah, I messed up and we lost. So that's why you need to remember what you have in play and pay attention to what you've got going on. So there is the player deck shuffled. And let's go ahead and get started. Health is at 11. He's at 16. It says put the red house into play. That's what is in play. Shuffle every other side scheme. I did that already. And set the sleeper side. Sleeper is set aside. Perfect. So Rise of Red Skull comes in with no threat, but he will be getting additional side schemes each and every turn. Let's draw our starting hand. We get a practice plan. Come get me, bub. Espionage. Electrical discharge. Strength. And Black Widow. Black Widow could be an interesting play to start. Because theoretically... Let's see, if I did... That is 3 resources to play that. Used, say, this to play my cybernetic arm, and then did come get me, bub. Well, I wouldn't need to heal, so I'm going to at least discard these two to see what else we can get. We get anticipation and arm block. Arm block is actually kind of cool, kind of clutch. Okay. I think what I will do, interestingly enough, I'm going to use arm block as a resource to get my cybernetic arm. Let's see where that is. There it is. That comes into play immediately. Shuffle this up. Then I'm going to go ahead and use this as 3 resources to pay for Black Widow. Once Black Widow enters play from my hand, I can return an attack event from my discard pile to my hand. Okay. Then I'm going to flip up. Black Widow will fort for 2. That brings that down to 1. I will thwart for 2, brings it down to 0, so that gets discarded. Then Cybernetic Arm and Practiced Plan will pay for an electrical discharge. This will count as a energy resource. So I deal 4 damage, this makes it 5, to Red Skull and stun him. So he goes from 16 down to 11 and gets stunned. I forgot, Black Widow does get a consequential. That resolves that. And I think we'll ready and draw. 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. Threat goes up by 1. Red Skull gets a thing here. Prison Camps comes in with 3 threat. Okay. And then he would attack, but he's stunned. And we get an encounter card, which is an advance. Interesting placement. 3. And then not an undefended attack, so nothing happens. So he just schemes for 3. Okay. That's not ideal, but I think we can handle it. So, we're going to start by... we'll do Metal Punch and Yocasta to pay for Ironheart. After Ironheart enters play from my hand, draw a card. We get a defensive stance. I'll use that defensive stance to pay for an anticipation. Black Widow will thwart for 2, and Ironheart will thwart for 1. That defeats the scheme. The player who defeated the scheme searches their deck and discard pile for an ally and puts it into play and shuffles the deck. So I'm going to go looking for my most expensive ally, which is Nick Fury, and he'll be put into play. His forced response says after Nick Fury enters play, choose 1. Remove 2 threat from a scheme, draw 3 cards, or deal 4 damage to an enemy. And then at the end of the round, if he's still in play, discard him. So I'm going to go ahead and have him draw me 3 cards. 1, 2, 3. I love Change of Fortune, but Winter's Rifle is going to be a bigger thing to get into play here. So these will be 3 resources to pay for the Winter Rifle. Okay. Nick Fury will thwart for 2, bringing this down to 2. And then I will attack for 4 with piercing and range. So that takes him from 11 down to 7. Okay, we'll ready and draw up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Threat goes up by 1, bringing this up to 3. So Nick does have a consequential on him, by the way. Then Red Skull gets a side scheme in, which is Mass Chaos. Discard the top 5 cards of my deck. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That is just 2 threat that gets placed on it. And then he'll attack for 2 plus a boost. So Nick Fury will defend this. 2, 3, 4. That defeats Nick Fury and removes him from play. Then we get an encounter card, a Hydra Soldier with Guard. I'm actually not mad about that. Okay, so... Oh, I don't need to trigger that because I am ready already. So there's a couple of things that I could do here. I could try and get myself a tough card. Or I could deal 8 damage to this guy with Overkill and get him down to 3. Kind of think that that's what I want to do. So Anticipation will pay for Winter's Mask. Cybernetic Arm and these 2 will pay for Metal Punch. Deal 7 damage to an enemy. And then if I exhausted the Cybernetic Arm to pay for this event, this attack gains Overkill. So he's going to take 8 damage. 4 goes over onto Red Skull. So he's down to 3 already. And we get an encounter card for defeating that guy. But also, Red Skull has... not Red Skull, Winter Soldier. After you attack and defeat an enemy, remove 2 threat from a scheme. We'll remove 2 threat from Mass Chaos. After you attack and defeat an enemy, exhaust Winter Mask and draw a card. We get a Come Get Me Bub. I don't need to heal, so... this would just give me a tough status. Would that be good? Because I can flip him this turn. And if I do that... I can hold on to this. We'll hold on to that. I'll thwart 2. I don't think I'm ready to flip. And Ironheart will thwart 1. So it defeats Ironheart. And then we'll ready and draw up. 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, interesting. We got... I don't know if y'all saw that. Come Get Me Bub, Energy, Silent Infiltration, and then 2 copies of Practice Plan. Threat goes up by 1. Red Skull gets a side scheme. The Sleeper Awakened. So the Sleeper comes in. He has a tough status. I'm not too concerned about it now with the winter rifle. And then Red Skull will attack for 2 plus a boost. Black Widow will take this. It's an advance, so it's just 2. That defeats Black Widow, though. Sleeper attacks me for 3. I'll take it. And then we get 2 encounter cards. The first one is a Hydra Regular, which incites 1. And the second one is Infinite Power. Give Red Skull a tough status card, and then he'll attack me. So he'll attack me for 2. 3, 4. So I go from 8 down to 4. All right. Okay. It's my turn. I'm going to use energy to pay for silent infiltration. I'm going to attack the Hydra Regular, so that will defeat him. I get to remove 2 threat from a scheme. And then this says after you attack... So after I attack and defeat an enemy, exhaust Winter Mask and draw a card. And then after I attack and defeat an enemy, discard this card and ready my hero and confuse an enemy. Theoretically, I should have put Practice Plan into play first, but oh well. So I get to ready and we'll confuse Red Skull. Alright. I'm going to put Practice Plan into play. And then my Cybernetic Arm should not be exhausted. So then what I will do is Winter Soldier will attack with his Winter Rifle. So I get piercing and ranged, and he gets +2 attack. So he takes 4 damage. Remove his tough. And I don't take the retaliate. He goes down there. I think instead of playing the practice plan, I'm going to hold on to it because of what I want to do. I'm going to play Come Get Me, Bub. I discard cards from the top of the encounter deck until I get a minion. So there's my minion. I heal 3. Go up to 7 and get a tough. When I engage a minion, discard this card and ready my hero. Now I'm ready. I'm going to use Cybernetic Arm +2 practice. Now I will attack the Sleeper to defeat him. So these get removed from the game. And then I guess we'll use Cybernetic Arm and the 2 practice plans to pay for Hard Knocks. Deal 4 damage. This makes it 5 to an enemy. If that enemy is defeated by this attack, give the hero a tough status card. I don't get an additional one, but that's okay. I do, however, get to get this. An encounter card. Okay, we'll ready and draw up to 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Threat goes up by 1. Red Skull gets a side scheme. Hydra Reinforcements. Comes in with 2 threat. And I'll end up getting extra encounter cards. Red Skull will attack for 2 plus a boost. I'll take it. So 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. There goes my tough. And then we will get 2 more encounter cards. So in order, this one goes first. He gets a Master Strategist. His pistol. And Hail Hydra. Each Hydra minion engaged with the hero makes an attack against that hero. Each player who is not attacked this way searches the encounter deck and discard pile for a Hydra minion, puts it into play, engage with them, and shuffles the encounter deck if it was searched. Okay? It will not be searched because I am going to grab the Hydra Regular. He's not revealed, but he is put into play. So he does not incite 1. So he just comes in and is ready to go against me. Okay, so I need an... I don't have the mental resource in my hand. So I'll put Grant Ward in. Then I'll use defensive stance. No, not yet. I'll swing for 2 on the Hydra regular. Winter Mask will draw me a card, and I get to remove 2 threat from a scheme. There's my mental resource. Okay, so ready for a fight. Defensive stance and arm block will be 3 resources to get rid of his pistol. Then cybernetic arm and powerful punch will pay for electrical discharge. Deal 4 damage to an enemy. If I paid for this using an energy resource, stun that enemy. So he's going to take 5 damage. That does defeat him, but he gets stunned here. And then we flip him over. He does not have steady or stalwart, so he remains stunned and confused. And his health gets set to 20. Okay. Then Grant Ward is going to swing for 2, taking him down to 18. Let's take a consequential for that, and we will hope that we don't get to have to remove him from the game. Draw 5, 2, 3, 4, 5. Threat goes up by 1. Red Skull gets a side scheme. Censor the past. And then I guess this is where we reset the side scheme deck. Which, theoretically, I might be missing a scheme from. Let me grab that real quick. I will shuffle the encounter deck again if it's missing. I'm not entirely sure where that scheme is. Is it in here? Oh, there it is. Okay. This will actually be here. I don't know what the boost was, or if that was... I think that was a boost. So, oops. Okay. That goes there. So he got that. He would attack, but he's stunned. And then we get an encounter card, which is a treachery. So he's going to attack me. I don't have anything to prevent the attack. I think I'll let it come through. So he's going to attack. Ooh, no, I won't. I'll defend for 2. That could be bad. 2, he's attacking for 2. 3 plus 2 boost. So he will get a tough for this guy. And then, so he's attacking for 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I defended for 2, so I take 4, brings me down to 3. I can either spend a mental resource or take damage equal to his attack and remove him from the game. I will spend Armored Vest. So he stays in. Okay. Not an ideal situation necessarily, but definitely not the worst. This gets removed. I don't have a waiter ready right now. I will do Genius to pay for Silent Infiltration, and then Ready for a Fight will pay for Anticipation. I can't attack. Grant Ward will thwart for 2, bringing this down to 1. That's a 5. I'll take a consequential. And then I'm going to flip down. And then we'll ready and draw up to 6. I get an extra encounter card. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Winter armor, which is good. Arm block, strength, hard knocks, and ready for a fight. Okay. Threat goes up by 2. We get this side scheme, which we knew was coming. Hydra Patrol. We'll shuffle the side scheme deck. And then he would scheme, but he's confused. And then we get an encounter card. Here's the first one. Twisted Reality. So it insights 1. And then I get an extra encounter card when I defeat this. And this. Okay. So potential for 2 extra encounter cards. Alright. Do I have healing? No. Okay. Those were not treacheries. Those were attachments. Okay. I'll heal for 3, bringing me up to 6. Then I'll flip up. Grant Ward will thwart 2 off of Hydra Patrol. That defeats that. We get an encounter card for that. That gets discarded. I search the encounter deck and discard pile for a Hydra minion and put it into play. So I did see that one before. I just didn't remember it. So Hydra regular comes in. Anticipation will trigger, allowing me to ready. Grant Ward is defeated. Then I would love to hard knocks on the Hydra regular. So I'm going to exhaust to thwart 2 off of the main. And then strength and cybernetic arm will pay for hard knocks. That will deal 5 damage to the Hydra regular, which will defeat him. And I get a tough status for that. Then Silent Infiltration will... well, I get to remove 2 threats, so I'll remove this one. This gets defeated. I get an extra encounter card. And then I get to draw a card with a Winter Mask. Silent Infiltration readies me and confuses Red Skull. Okay. Ready for a fight and powerful punch. We'll pay for winter armor. I gain 3 hit points and steady. Then I will swing for 4 at Red Skull with piercing and ranged. So I deal 4 damage to him, taking him down to 14 with no negatives. Ready? Drop to 5, 2, 3, 4. Threat goes up by 1. Red Skull gets a side scheme. Ooh, the red house. Okay. And then he's going to attack for 2. And I think I'm going to cybernetic. Oh, no, no, no. Because he can't take damage. So he's going to attack for 3 plus a boost. 3. And then he's going to attack me again after this. So that knocks off my tough. And then he'll attack me again. For 3, I am going to use my cybernetic arm. No. Nah. Doesn't really matter. So I'll use the cybernetic arm to pay for arm block. So I would deal 3 damage to him, but this means he can't take damage. But if I exhausted the cybernetic arm to pay for this event, which I did, I prevent all damage from the attack. So 2, 3, and then give the villain a tough status card and another boost card. 4, 5, I take no damage, but he does get a tough status. And then we get our encounter cards. First one is Caught Off Guard. Discard an upgrade or support you control. We'll get rid of the Winter Mask. Bitter Rival. Exhaust a character you control for each side scheme in play. And Master Strategist. Alright, we'll have no readies. Love to have a copy of Anticipation, but that's not gonna happen. I can't thwart, so this is gonna have to stay. If I come get me, bub, that's not beneficial. My hand is kind of dead, so I'll practice plan. Come get me, bub will bring in a minion. A minion will scheme, so I can hang on to come get me, bub, and arm block and energy. So I will flip down, ready, and draw up to 6, 3, 4, 5, 6. Helicarrier's a little too late. Threat goes up by 1, bringing that up to 5. Red Skull now gets a second thing here. 3 threat on it. And then we get an encounter card. Spreading Lies. Place 2 threat on each side scheme in play. Okay. Now here's the deal. Let's see, I can Metal Punch for 8. And then attack for 4. I have to get rid of the red house first. So that's kind of a big deal. If I had a ready, it would be helpful. I don't have the ready, so Genius and Come Get Me, bub. We'll pay for the Helicarrier. I'll heal for 3. Brings me up to 12. I have a total of 14 hit points that I can have. Then I will flip up. And I am exhausted. So we're going to end up getting another counter card. So I'll draw 5, 3, 4, 5. It stinks. Okay. Whew. That goes up by 2, which takes it up to 7. Red Skull gets another side scheme. Comes in with 2 threat. Then I'll get an extra encounter card. He's going to attack for 2, 3, 4, 5 plus 2 boost. I'm going to take it. So 5, 5, so 10. I go down to 2. And then 2 encounter cards. First one, Bitter Rival. And he attacks. That's not even fair. So Cybernetic Arm will block that attack. So he's going to attack for 2, 3, 4, 5. And then that is a defense, so I don't have to discard anything. Okay. Wow, that really sucked. Because I have no way, I can Come Get Me, bub. So this is actually gone too. So we discard until we get a minion. We get a Hydra Flame Soldier. I get to heal 3 and get a tough. Then I can do this, which is Helicarrier and Energy will pay for a Metal Punch to defeat him. And that removes 2 threat by defeating him from a scheme. I really need it to be red house, I guess. So that brings this down to 3. I can survive another turn sitting up, so well, that's gonna pop, regardless. And he's gonna attack for really hard. I guess that's fine. 2, 3, 4, 5. There's an anticipation. Threat goes up by 2, putting it at 9. That pops here. When revealed, reveal the top card of the side scheme deck. So we're going to get Mass Chaos. And then we're going to end up getting another side scheme. Hydra Patrol. So I discard the top 5 cards. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's going to come in with 3 threat. This comes in with 2. This flips over. So yeah, I got the second scheme out already. This comes in with, this starts with 1 threat. He's going to attack me for 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 plus a boost. And then he's going to attack me again for 7 plus for 7. I defend for 2. It doesn't matter. I lose here. Because even if I defend for 2, he does 5 damage to me. And that defeats me. Because I was in hero form and he was gonna activate. That's really rough. Things can get way out of control with Red Skull. Things went really smooth for a while. I mean, we got him down to 14 health, but once he got the red house out again, it prevented me from being able to do anything to him. And since I couldn't do anything to him and I kept getting exhausted, there was nothing that I could do. And honestly, if I had flipped down last turn, theoretically, we'll count this as a loss, but we'll walk it back a little bit. So if I had flipped down last turn, that would have popped, this would have come out. And then instead of hitting me, so I'll reset my hit dial and this, he would have schemed for 3, and then, so he would have just schemed for 3, right? Or was it 2 boost? No, yeah, scheme for 3. That guy was a minion, so then this, he wouldn't have attacked. So I will be down here, let's say. Ready, because I wouldn't have exhausted. So then 3, and then we would get 2 encounter cards. A Hydra Soldier and an Assault, which would have surged into his right hook, so he has Retaliate 1, which doesn't matter for me. Okay. So here, theoretically, I could flip up. Then if I did Helicarrier in defensive stance, I could Electrical Discharge to deal the 4 damage here. I'd get an encounter card, but I would remove 2 threat. I would remove it from Red House because I'm really wanting to go after him. Then I guess I would do Avengers Mansion for anticipation. Then I would have thwarted for 2 off of Hydra Patrol, because then I could go back and get the Hydra Regular, who would just come into play and not Insight 1. I would get ready with Anticipation. Practice Plan would put Anticipation back in my hand. Then I would be able to attack him for 2. To then remove 2 more threat from a scheme, and that would be from the red house. Then I would use Powerful Punch to pay for anticipation. And then I would ready and draw up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Threat would go up by 2 here, bringing it up to 6. Red Skull would attack me. I still have a tough status for 2, 3, 4, 5. Actually, he would get this in play also, so 6 plus a boost. 7, and he would get a tough, but that's okay. So my tough would come off. Then we'd get 2, 3 encounter cards. He would get an acceleration token. First one is the Hydra Exo Soldier with toughness. Then a Hydra regular with insight 1. And infinite power. So this is where he would attack me. He'd get a tough status, need to attack for 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. If I didn't defend, I would die. So I would defend for 2. And then I would take 4, bringing me down to 1. So then on my turn, Cybernetic Arm and Helicarrier would pay for Hard Knocks to defeat the Hydra regular, which would give me a tough status card. I would get to remove 2 threat from a scheme. I would remove it from Hydra reinforcements to be able to defeat this or to discard this guy. And then these 3 would pay for Black Widow. And I would go back into my discard pile and get my arm block. Black Widow would port 2 off of Mass Chaos. And then I would hold on to arm block and ready and drop 5, 2, 3, 4, 5. Threat would go by 3, bringing it within popping range. I don't think these would be on top of the deck. Red Skull would get an additional side scheme. Hydra reinforcements. Then he would have attacked for 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 plus a boost. 6, 7, 8. My toughness falls off. Then we would get 2 encounter cards. First one is a Hail Hydra, so then I would discard until I get a Hydra minion. Love seeing that scheme go away. So we get the Hydra Exo Soldier. He would come in with toughness. And then our next one would be his pistol thing. Okay. But let's see. If I were to pierce this, have her attack that, I would take a retaliate for that and die. So what is that? That is an energy, mental, and physical. I don't have the physical that I want to use for that. So if I straight up do 4 damage to him, I think I can win. So this is going to be piercing and ranged, 4 damage to take him down to 10. That removes his tough status card. Black Widow attacks him for 2, takes him down to 8. She gets defeated because he does have retaliate 1. Then I would do cybernetic arm, helicarrier, and practice plan to pay for a metal punch to deal 8 damage plus overkill to Red Skull, which would defeat him. Since he got defeated, I don't take the retaliate, and he's done. So officially, we could count this as a loss since I didn't flip down on that one turn, and it did get really close to me losing to threat here. But we can also count this as a win because we learned. We learned that sometimes it is okay to take the safe path. That could also end up being risky. But this was a lot of fun. I enjoyed playing Winter Soldier. I've not played him in protection before. I would have loved to have gotten Change of Fortune down, but I think there was maybe just too much going on, and there was other priorities. He seems like a really, really cool hero. I really love Arm Block. I love Electrical Discharge, Metal Punch. I love his attack events. I love some of his things that you build with, like the Winter Armor and the Cybernetic Arm. Getting those things down was great. I don't think Anticipation is really gonna be as great of a card as I want it to be. I tried to build this deck around it, and I think I just learned that there's certain cards that you can't build around, or maybe there's some other things that I should have done differently. Like maybe try to get more readies in, maybe some more minion summoners, things of that nature. Probably getting something like Face the Past would have been good in this deck with an Anticipation. Because then you'd get 3 cards. I think you get a ready from Face the Past already though, so that wouldn't be fantastic. But I mean, there's other cards though that I probably could have used to bring in minions. But it really wasn't that bad. Things weren't that bad. Anticipation, I think, is just going to be hard to build around in protection. The only minion summoner that I know of in protection is Come Get Me Bub, and there wasn't always a good opportunity to play it, and I didn't always have Anticipation on the field when I needed it. So, and if I wasn't always exhausting when I was taking damage, so there really wasn't, I don't think I built for this deck very well. So, that's that. I hope you guys enjoyed, and we'll see you guys in the next one. Stay twisty.